Sometimes calling out another player is just a reflex action. I was totally hitting the button, that shot should have connected. Oh my god, the spawns in this game are terrible. What about the times though when baked into the game's code is something genuinely unfair? I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com and these are 9 multiplayer characters who broke their video games. Number 9, the monkeys. Timesplitters 2. If there's one thing that'll ruin any action game built on reflexes, it's hitboxes. The term given to invisible zones of contact surrounding objects that need to interact, lag can get in the way too, but we've all died to another player online only to watch a replay and realize, hey, that bullet should have gone right past me. In Timesplitters 2's case, while the inclusion of tiny monkeys running around the map was hilarious, them wielding the same weapons as everyone else certainly was not. It's far easier to look up from the ground and shoot at larger targets than it is to constantly aim downwards while moving, trying to get a bead on a totally unique tiny hitbox. From day one, this was a massive balance issue, and though Timesplitters 2 is a true great, one in dire need of an HD collection re-release, in a time before patches, these monkeys drove everyone insane. Number 8, Devil/Angel. Tekken 2. Over the years, it's become almost an unwritten rule that fighting games should have a character that doesn't obey the same laws as the rest of us. Maybe they tank hits and counter while you're mid-animation. Maybe they teleport around the screen. Maybe they defeat you in one shot after they've been reduced to a sliver of health. Years before the Seths, Jinpachis and Azazels though, the tables were flipped, at least if you were playing locally in Tekken 2. Here you could unlock Devil and Angel, 2 characters who, with the punch of just 2 buttons, could send lasers directly across the battlefield or fly up and scorch the area below. With Tekken 2 predating the franchise giving everybody a sidestep, i.e. the one thing that lets you get the hell out the way, going up against a player spamming these laser moves was a waking nightmare. Number 7, Mei. Overwatch. Google Overwatch Mei and to this day you'll find patches and reams of forum comments analysing Overwatch's otherwise charming as hell Ice Queen. While Blizzard have changed all sorts of parameters surrounding her mobility, ultimate, movement speed, etc., one early exploit that went unchecked for months was a player's ability to use Mei's ice wall to escape the map entirely. Most prevalent on Eco Point Antarctica because it was very easy to do this in one of the starting rooms. Once a player launched themselves up and out of the level, they could return fire and damage the opposition, but not be hit themselves. Again, even as I say this, there are legions of players screaming that Mei's ability to freeze an entire team through base primary fire is also still broken. But that's something for the fanbase to break down. Number 6, Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Mortal Kombat 10. A double entry here as Mortal Kombat 10 offered up a potentially brilliant factions multiplayer leaderboard that then totally fell apart on day one. Simply down to the idea of asking players to sign up to a group based purely on popularity, the overwhelming majority went with Sub-Zero's Lin Kuei Ninja Clan. You couldn't blame them, as other options included the woefully boring human group Special Forces, and even Raiden's White Lotus group couldn't hold a candle to an ice-conjuring super ninja as a leader. Point being though, this totally skewed faction rep, weekly challenges and all things related to the faction mode out the gate. When only 10% of the fanbase were playing as anyone other than Lin Kuei, it quickly tanked the whole idea. This notion of popularity and character balancing stretched across to main multiplayer too, as it was quickly reported that character Scorpion, long the favourite of creator Ed Boon and mascot for the franchise, was being played twice as much as anyone else on the entire roster. Across the board, either you were being spear uppercutted to death from Scorpion players, or you were trying and failing to find any purpose in the faction mode. Number 5, Gone. Tekken 3. Yes, it's another fighting game, but so few genres are the perfect nexus of needing game balance for every single input while encouraging multiplayer competition. Another hitbox menace, the hilarious addition of Gone into Tekken 3 certainly gave us a memory for life, but going up against anyone who could use his moveset was a recipe for rage quitting. Like the original Timesplitters 2 monkey of his day, Gone's hitboxes made him a nightmare to hit, though his presence as a character was still insanely powerful, thanks to being based on a popular manga of the 90s. There were distance closing charges, spinning attacks while jumping, super easy chain punches and kicks. Gon even had access to King's ground grapples, keeping the punishment on after you'd hit the ground. In short, Gon was a great laugh to embody, but the single scourge of local multiplayer. A character put on the cannot use list if you were making any set of house rules. Oh, and yes, he could fart you to death just to rub it in. Number 4, Akuma. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Not gonna lie, I kinda love how Akuma is so overwhelmingly powerful, it's seen him banned from use in multiple Street Fighter tournaments around the world. In so many ways, it only adds to the mystique and presence of the Great Demon, making him an imposing force to be reckoned with, even when discussing the character's history. Still, Akuma was introduced in the Turbo edition of Street Fighter 2, was insanely hard to beat if you triggered his duel instead of fighting M. Bison, then became the one character to avoid like the plague in multiplayer. Literally down to Capcom not balancing Akuma's moveset for the sake of challenge in single player, Akuma can teleport, throw down fireballs from above that no one has accounted for, and his damage output is higher than everybody else regardless. Again, in so many ways this makes Akuma cool as hell, unless you're fighting him. Number 3. Broly, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Speaking of insane characters who felt intimidating through name and reputation alone, Dragon Ball's legendary Saiyan warrior Broly was custom built to be the most oversized, ridiculous being possible. In-game then, getting him just right has been a struggle. Across the Dragon Ball Budokai series, he could be seen tanking energy blasts without reacting, or transforming multiple times for huge damage increases. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, the sheer pace of Arc System Works game engine means a good Broly player can completely box you in. Grapples become combos, become launchers, become grapples. There's nowhere to go but hope you can exploit some very specific frame data, and that's if your defense matches up with such an onslaught of abilities. Either all of this is totally true to the character, or it's just impossible to reliably survive. Number 2. Meta Knight, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Smash Bros. Is at its best being a giant mess of superpowers, characters you love, environments you recognize, and stonking great knockout blows that send opponents bouncing off the screen itself. It's this aesthetic immediacy that made Smash Bros. Such a mainstream success, but under all the bluster and powder keg special effects is a deeply balanced meta of frame data, combos, ring out saves, and everything in between. I say all this because with Meta Knight, all of that went out the window. For whatever reason, and we know creator Masahiro Sakurai adores Kirby anyway, let alone characters from their games, Meta Knight's base coding put him above the competition in every respect. Brutally effective combos that could be chained to keep the pressure on. Moves like Tornado that would take priority over everything else. Base frame data letting Meta Knight get a blow in first against literally anyone. Even if you got Meta Knight off the field, they could just fly back up indefinitely or use any special attack for a helpful momentum boost. Mention Meta Knight and Smash Bros. Brawl to anyone who played at the time, and then watch the war flashbacks come flooding back. And number 1, Oddjob, GoldenEye 007. Yes, GoldenEye is still a brilliantly fun FPS today. The sound effects, awesome music, motion captured enemy death animations, seeing them fly away in different directions as you unload a machine gun, it remains first person shooter royalty for a reason. However, in Rare implementing an entire multiplayer mode in secret without telling management, that time frame led to one of the most overlooked issues in multiplayer history: Oddjob. Again, with another hitbox issue, the core problem was how much GoldenEye's shooting mechanics were built around a very generous auto-aim. It helped you feel like a genuine badass in single player, circle strafing groups of goons as you went, but in multiplayer the auto-aim simply couldn't track Oddjob's frame whatsoever. To get a hit in, you'd have to stop, hold the manual aim button and try to find him, but by then the other player had ventilated you and everyone else you cared about in the same time window. Rare did finally comment on this in 2018, saying they did think Oddjob was kind of cheating during playtesting, but it was too much fun to take out and there was no impetus from any of us to change it. I mean, sure, here's to thoroughly broken characters in video games being left in, because to the developers, it's super funny. And those are just 9 multiplayer video game characters that totally broke everything. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.